Are you looking to grow revenues, increase profitability, or obtain financing? If so, you came to the right place.
Running a business is all about leadership. How do you become a better leader? Learn from the successful entrepreneurs and business owners how to lead your organization more effectively. That's why we created Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business, to help you succeed with your host, Andrew Frazier, Business Growth Pro and CFO and founder of the Small Business Pro University. Every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, we're joined by experienced entrepreneurs and business owners who share their secrets to success via live stream. Also, every Friday morning, we release a new podcast episode. Either way, you will learn about developing your business leadership skills from our roster of highly performing guest experts. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbpru.com.
Good evening and welcome to Leadership Live at 8:05. I'm your host, Andrew Frazier, and excited about hanging out with you once again on Tuesday night. Definitely at the end of the day, as a business owner, your business can only go as far as you're prepared to take it. So that's why we created this show, to help you learn from thought leaders and business leaders who specifically understand entrepreneurs in small business, so that you can learn from them, become a better leader, avoid mistakes, and, definitely excited about this week. We're going to talk about one of the most valuable topics. At the end of the day, as a business owner, your most important job is sales and marketing. And, if you don't do that well, then your organization is not going to do well and may not survive. So, that's why we dedicate a lot of shows to sales and marketing. And there's so much to learn that, and so many perspectives that, it's great having different professionals on in sales and marketing. So I'm really excited to have Katie Nelson on. Definitely, we're going to talk about Sales UpRising, and who doesn't want their sales uprising? So this is going to be, a great conversation, and she has expertise in doing that. So, she's, agreed to take time out of her busy schedule to share with us tonight. So let me bring Katie on. Hey, Katie, how you doing tonight?
I'm ready to go. Let's do this.
Excellent. So definitely, we've chatted some, but the audience doesn't really know you. So it'd be great if you could take a few minutes, talk a little bit about your journey and some of the key milestones that you faced and overcame.
Well, thank you. I so appreciate you having me on here. I am always happy to preach good sales techniques, all of the things sales, so that we can all run amazing businesses at the end of the day. So thank you for the opportunity.
Definitely.
As far as my own journey goes, from a sales perspective, sales was my first job when I was a kid. And what I found is being paid on commission. If you're good at it, you can make more money than less money. And, who as a kid doesn't want that? I'd put forward who as a business owner doesn't want that. But on my journey, it was as a kid first. And I loved it. I loved the people part of selling, because they needed something that I had to give them. So I was a boots on the ground salesperson since that. I think I've had one job where sales wasn't involved. And it was like a straight up customer service job. I was in the accounts payable department of a beer distributorship back in the day. It was a lot of fun. But ultimately I went back to sales. And I think the steps on my journey like the first time I was the number one person in a sales team, that felt great. It was a lot of hard work to get there, but it felt wonderful. So we wanted more of that. I learned that if you are great at your job in sales, you have uh, probably more autonomy than even the CEO of a company, is what I can say now. And ultimately, my job in sales has led me to own or co-own 3 separate businesses, one of which I still own today. So, pretty easy.
Excellent, excellent. So, definitely coming up in sales, it's easy to be comfortable if that's, sort of where you came up. But what I find is a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners, they never even thought about having to sell when they went into business. And it's a little bit of a shock. And I'm sure you sort of give them, when you work with people, you sort of give them some help. Um, so what are some of the things that you do to help them understand how important sales is and get comfortable doing it so that they can do it better?
So one, there's a couple things there's something that you said that I want to point out first, and that's if you came up in it, it's probably, like breathing for you, or it's something that you knew you had to do, or it's probably a little easier for you. Oddly enough, when I co-owned my first 2 experiences with entrepreneurship, I had a business partner. So I knew my role as a salesperson first, so I didn't really think very much about it. For Sales UpRising, for this company, it was the first time the whole thing was mine, and selling that looked wildly different. So I felt just like every entrepreneur that's like, what do you mean I have to go sell my own stuff? So I did have a moment. I knew how to do it, and I had muscles that I could use to help me get over that hump. But selling your own stuff, your own company as a business owner does have a different flavor than when you're selling for someone else. In terms of, and yes, every business owner I work with, the majority of them don't have sales experience. Sales wasn't their main gig, or even they may not have ever even had a sales job. So first and foremost, we focus on who they want to serve, because every business owner, sir, will tell you, I just want to help X. How many times have you heard, well, I just want to help? And so I say, okay, let's take that further. Who do you want to help? Why do you want to help them? And it's we reframe the question to not who do you want to help, but what do you have to give? What are you giving? Because ultimately, the thing that they're giving is what they need to sell, right? You can say, I'm giving my time. Okay, well, as a business owner, by the structure of being in business, we don't give our time, we sell our time. And so how is that packaged? What does that look like? Ultimately, it has everything to do with the client and how to communicate that we have something that you need and how much it costs and how they can get it. And I find that that helps them work it out a little bit and go, oh, yeah, I see.
Yeah. Yes. I think that unfortunately, a lot of people don't really do business plans to their detriment. And the most important part of the business plan is your sales and marketing plan.
Is it right? Or so think about how many people don't need. Let's take that a step further, sir.
Okay.
So ultimately, even some of the best business plans that have been written by brand new entrepreneurs don't include a revenue goal, which is, again, to your point, your revenue goal is what you utilize to reverse engineer your sales and marketing plan. So, and when you're first getting started, I would tell you that one of the mistakes I see so often is brand new entrepreneurs heavily investing in marketing. Now, for all of my marketing people that are out there listening, don't kill me. It really ends up great for you. So just listen for a second. But the best marketing that I know as a salesperson has the sales journey in it. The best marketing people, the best marketing gurus are going to ask you all of the questions that sales answers in an effort to create the fullest picture so that they can utilize the whole of it. When you're first getting started, you may not have sold a thing. So you have kind of a blank Mad Lib that you're handing to marketing to say, hey, like this is what I think is going to happen. So it's much better to hold off on your heavy marketing investment until you have a good quality story with, in fact, the clients that you are currently delivering to.
Okay. So you were real nice about it. I'm not always that
I know we're on the Late Late Show. I'm waiting for you to cuss first so that I know how far we can go.
nice.
It's terrifying to me to see brand new business owners. Like if we did a straw poll right now for the people that are listening, and somebody will have to tell me the numbers, but put a number 1 in the chat if you were accidentally an entrepreneur, meaning you are 100% bootstrapped because you didn't think you were going to be running your own business. It wasn't in your plan. This happened to me the first time I ran my business. An old business mentor called me, said he was starting a company. I was in a place where I was ready to do something different. So I said, sure. Does that mean that I had saved up like a chunk of cash in my savings account to make sure I could pay myself? That is not what that looked like. Right? So if you're an accidental entrepreneur, for you to then decide to spend money that you did not save because this wasn't in the plan on marketing will sink your business faster than anything else, because by the time you get to the end of that cash, you are exhausted, burnt out, and you don't have the answers you need to move your business forward. Sales has all your answers. Honestly. And then for those of you that are intentional entrepreneurs, put a number 2. I intentionally chose to start a business. Well, at the end of that, did you end up doing it with enough cash? Like, how far did your bootstrap cash take you? And how are you doing today? And I just haven't heard a whole ton of stories where heavy investment in marketing up front before we have client 1 or client 10 has turned out real well for solopreneurs, even if they're looking to grow into smaller micro-sized businesses.
Yes. I mean, I think that it's really easy to waste a whole bunch of money on marketing. And many people who do marketing don't really understand marketing. They just understand a marketing tool, but
or a marketing concept
concept that they heard from somebody, but
they know it, or they know how it's supposed to work without context.
Right. And most marketing training is for big companies.
Yes.
And as a small business, you usually have to do the opposite of what a big business needs to do it successfully. So, you got to be real careful about spending on marketing.
Absolutely. Even the statistic, so 5 to 12% is the statistic that you'll hear on a general basis about how much you should budget. 5 to 12% of your annual revenue should be set aside for marketing. Think about the swath between 5% and 12%, and where's that going to be spent? Because marketing is an umbrella, right? So marketing is the umbrella. It's that really comfortable thing that keeps you dry, but it has all these spokes. So there's your PR, there's your social media, there's potentially SEO, there's your website, there's potentially mail-in ads. There's so many different spokes of a marketing umbrella that where are you spending your money, boo? And does it matter? Is that where you should be spending your money? You know who will answer that for you? Your clients.
Definitely. So, the hard part is a lot of people don't have experience with sales or marketing. And many people don't even know there's a difference between sales and marketing.
Well, it's so funny because, I have my little pen, so I make my notes. When you were introducing the show, you talked about how sales and marketing are the most important thing. I love that you just said that they are 2 separate functions in business, because oftentimes I will literally correct the people who are like, yeah, so sales and marketing. I'm like, no, it's sales and marketing. Like they're 2 separate business functions.
Right.
They have to get along. If you want them to work well, if you want to maximize the opportunities that they both have, they need to be really good friends in your business, but they are wholly different functions, like HR and finance. not the same thing.
Yep. And just because you're a good salesperson doesn't mean you're a good marketer, vice versa. So a lot of times you assume that one can do the other, but at the end of the day, marketing is about strategy, and sales is about a solution to your client's current need, want, or desire. And
I would also say it's about the connection. So sales happens on the human side. Now, depending on if the audience is product based, right? So if your business is product based and you can sell a Nike shoe with your branding, back to what Andrew said about big companies and marketing. I would also say that if you are product based, your marketing and sales functions will look vastly different than if you are service based. So if you're homegrown, right? I don't care if you have a brick and mortar and you're a consultant, but what you sell are services, your marketing looks different than, because bots don't buy. Like, you can't, where's the Amazon for business coaches, right?
Yeah.
Where's the Amazon for lawyers? I want this lawyer. And I mean, I guess you could say it's the internet, but I would not say it's the internet. The internet is not marketing your company for you, even if you have the best SEO known to man.
Right. No, definitely. It takes more than that, but every company is unique.
Yes.
And just because something works for other companies doesn't mean it's going to work for yours. And you have to you can't just delegate your sales and marketing. That's like delegating your wallet. Would you give someone your wallet with cash in it? That's basically, the situation.
I don't even know that I give my partner and I have been together. We just celebrated 22 years of wedded bliss. And I think the answer to that question is still no.
So you can't assume somebody's going to do that for you. And if you're a small business, you got to be your number one salesperson. So
tell the people, if you want to be the CEO of your own company, you need to be the number one salesperson in your business. Let's say it again.
Amen.
Right.
So definitely that's very important, and important to get that perspective as a small business owner.
Well, here's the thing. So when I every so often I'll run across a new business owner who's like, when can I hire my first salesperson? And where should a beginner start? Well, we'll get to that in a minute. And they want to buy their first salesperson. This will actually help tell you where to start. If you want to get started in your business, and that's started as the whole thing, you want to start making money so that you can hire your first salesperson. Go ahead, interview me. I am a very successful salesperson, and there are some questions that I take into interviews with me that my guess is, as a beginner, you don't have the answers to. Yeah. For example, if you want to hire me, and you want to hire me on commission only, because you don't want employees, you may want 1099s, but you don't want a salary. You don't want to have to pay anybody benefits. That certainly wasn't in your accidental entrepreneur bootstrap cash. So I'm going to ask you, how long does it take to get a cold lead closed as a deal? And you may not even know what those words mean. Right? So how long does it take someone you met on the street for me to sell them your services? If you have not, as the CEO of your own company, sold anything, you have no hope of being able to answer that question for me. And yet, as a commission-only salesperson, that's all I care about. How fast can I make money? Now, you're going to come at me and you're going to say, but Katie, you're an expert salesperson. You can sell anything. You can sell salt to a slug. And I'm going to tell you, it doesn't have anything to do with me. You're right. I'm amazing. And I still need to know the statistics of your business so that I know how to plug my expertise into it for my betterment on my commission-only plan.
Yeah. And, not only that, your product might not quite be ready.
Maybe, baby.
It might not be the solution that it needs to be.
Or that you
Uh,
right, that you think it is, or that, right? How many people have come to you and been like, I know these people need this, and you're like, prove it. Like, who needs that?
yeah,
Or maybe they do and they're never gonna buy it.
definitely. So definitely that's key. So I think that you know it's a difficult thing to hire a salesperson, but what I found is more than 50% of them are not successful, and you just waste a whole bunch of money on them. And it's usually your fault because you're not giving them what they need to succeed.
So I would say there's culpability on both sides. I appreciate, right? So that's not traditionally the story that salespeople hear. We're really used to taking a lot of the blame for a lot of things. Um, so I appreciate that it's the business owner's fault because they don't know what they don't know. However, a good quality salesperson should.
Right.
So it's also, this is what I mean about culpability. The salesperson should be asking the questions. Well, how long is it going to take me? What are your 10 most frequently asked objections? A business, I can tell you what mine are. I've been in this business for 9 years.
Yep.
And I can give you guys a heads up. The first two for every business across the world are going to be time and money. Like I gave you your first two already. We'll just give you your cheat sheet, time and money. You're going to hear that more than you'll hear anything else. So I'm going to ask you as a salesperson, great, what are your next 8?
So, and that's key. I mean, you're more likely if you get a salesperson who's sold in your industry. And
Maybe. And the only reason I say that is because if you don't have the capability, because you're a newer business person, to provide them with the context of who you are and how you do your do, that salesperson may be selling their last company's shtick.
mm-hmm. And yeah, because if you don't have leads for them, you don't have more materials for them, and the other thing that I've experienced and heard is that usually it's hard for a single salesperson to be successful because a lot of salespeople are competitive. And when there's other salespeople with them, a lot of times there's more success. And I could be wrong.
Well, this is what I would tell you. Like I can understand where you have heard that because that is true. Salespeople are competitive. We want to be the best. That means we're getting paid the most. That means we're doing a good job. Like, absolutely. As a business owner, as a business coach, as a person who's in the sales field, how much competition you think I have even like hanging out here in the Northern Virginia area? Sir, like there are plenty of people that I can go ahead and put my hat in the ring against and they don't work for me.
Mhm.
So you can make your own highlight reel, you can create your own story as far as competition goes, if that's your bag. At the end of the day, as a small business owner, I'm also not looking to bag all the clients. I don't have the quota that another company would have for me. I have what I consider to be a full practice. What I like, the beauty of entrepreneurship, I get to make the rules until I choose to hire somebody else to. I'm never going to have somebody else make the rules. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
I will hire somebody else to carry out the rules that I create for the company.
Or help you to do a better job creating the rules.
Better at those
Right.
at 100%. Somebody that is better than, for example, in marketing, I am absolutely a salesperson who is shite at marketing. I don't understand clickbait. I don't appreciate, like, I don't get it. I'm the salesperson who, like, marketing is the lipstick on the pig. I'm like, let me tell you about the pig. So sales is the function, and maybe it's due to my age or maybe it's due to my tenure. But at the end of the day, sales was always the most honest function of the business. Because if I sell you a bill of goods, if I'm not accountable for where we are a great company or a not so great company, and yet you think that maybe something we have as a weaker point is like why you should buy us, how long you think that person's going to be a client? And I'm too old. I'm not looking to repeat myself. I'm not looking to lose clients. I want it to be an amazing customer experience. So I don't have time to zhuzh it, I don't have time to make it what it's not. I need you to love it for what it is. That's how I know I have a good prospect in front of me.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, this is amazing conversation, but we got to take a break because this is Power Week. And during Power Week, 3 to 4 times a year, we have our in-person events here in New Jersey. So this Thursday night, we have the Power Network event. So at Montclair Brewery on Thursday night, definitely come join us. And then on Friday, we have the Masterpreneur Breakfast. So the night before is sort of like the pre-breakfast networking event, and then the breakfast is on Friday morning. So definitely worth checking it out. I've got a short video that will tell you a little bit more about what you can expect. So here we go. Hey, entrepreneurs and business owners, Andrew Frazier here, and I'm very excited to invite you to the very first Masterpreneur Breakfast in its new format. If you love the Power Breakfast, this is the upgraded version. Sharper insights, higher level discussions, and a room full of owners serious about scaling. For more than 10 years, our events have directly generated tens of millions of dollars in revenue and financing for attendees.
This event was a wow. Every panel, every speaker has had so much amazing content and good information to share.
This is a good day to put aside to come out and do some learning, but also make some great connections. The ones that I made were impactful.
On Friday, November 21st, I'll be the featured guest speaker, sharing a powerful framework that I rarely teach publicly, the 10 strategic levers that scale your business. If you're ready to break through your next revenue ceiling and position your business to grow without burning yourself out, these levers are the key. You'll meet serious entrepreneurs, learn proven best practices, and walk away with your next strategic move, the kind you can implement immediately. The seats are filling up fast, so visit www.sbpro.com/masterpreneur-breakfast and secure your spot today. Join me for a focused, energized morning so you'll be ready to scale smarter and grow stronger. All right, welcome back to Leadership Live at 8:05. The topic tonight is Sales UpRising, and tonight's guest is Katie Nelson. Katie, we've got some questions from the audience. So definitely we appreciate everybody's comments. We appreciate your questions, and definitely want to address them. So the first one is from actually, I'm going to mess up his name, so I'm not going to say it. But gentleman asks about, says thanks for the tips, but, where should a beginner start?
So if we're talking about for business, you should start with your business plan. If you have already started your business and you just want to get to it, I need you to start on your target market. Who are your people? What do they look like? Where do they hang out? What do they buy? Why did they buy it? What do they need? Is that what you provide? Every business is predicated on their customer. So I need you to identify your customer first. And you guys, niching is one of the hardest. It doesn't feel like it should be hard, but there are very few stories where it's just come so easily, because the minute you think it's easy and the minute you get a customer in that target market, what ends up happening is you learn about that target market and you may decide that isn't really who you're looking to serve. So it's like these swirling colors on a bubble that you blow. It shifts with the wind at times until you as the business owner put input into it, do it again, up level your niche, and ultimately if that's your main focus for the first year in your business, by the time you're at the end of that year, if sales and your target market are your only focus, you'll have enough data from your target markets to really have a solid plan going into your second year of business. So your target market and selling to them is where I would start every business. As a matter of fact, I built a whole business on that concept.
Excellent, excellent. So yeah, I mean that is definitely really important. I mean, I think you shared, some very key stuff. Um, when you start out in business, and actually what I did was I created the Masterpreneur Playbook. And what that does, it outlines the path to go from startup to scaling, and it can meet you where you are and help you guide from there. So I'm just going to walk through the 5 steps, just because I think this, each step, sales and marketing is a different thing. So
Absolutely. So listen to what Andrew said, you guys. He's about to lay out context for you for your business. Context is one of the most important things when you are at the power breakfast, right? When you go to Masterpreneur breakfast on Friday, think about what this means for where you are in which space in your journey. Don't look at the person next to you and be like, oh, that's what I have to do. They may make $5 million and you make 20 grand. It's different.
yes, definitely everything's different. Everybody goes at a different pace, but you can only go as far as your business is prepared. So here's sort of a little bit about what the Masterpreneur journey is. So, there's 5 steps. You start out working on the concept of your business. That's really where you're developing your business plan, your strategy and marketing plan, and trying to figure out, what your product is and who is likely to buy it. Step 2 is working in your business. You're working in your business. You're starting to make some sales, but during that period, you got to find the right product market fit before you can move forward. And until you've done about at least 100 grand in sales, you haven't found the right product market fit. So it's important to understand that it's a journey and it's iterative. You're going to learn, you try stuff, you get better. Working on your business, really optimizing your business and processes, and then creating a sales process and system. Working on the future of your business, developing a strategy to expand your market, and then scaling your business. Really managing, sales and growth with capacity and with cash flow. And in each of these steps, there's a key, you have to evolve as a business owner to be able to successfully go through each step. So you start out, entrepreneurial, solving problems, employee, supervisor, working in the business, focused on the day-to-day, week-to-week. Manager, optimizing your business. Most people never successfully go from working in their business to on their business because either they don't have enough sales, or they haven't developed the leadership and management skills to be able to do it successfully. From there, it's just as hard to make it to the next level where you have to be executive, leading managers, and then finally, ultimately a CEO where you have the structure with you. So that's sort of how the journey is, and what you need to do at the different steps. So so just hopefully that just gives some insights into really the path and the journey that you need to take as a business owner.
I agree. One, we want to give a thanks to Olivia. I appreciate that you appreciate a no BS approach. It's something that I'm absolutely known for. So thanks for that. That all love, no bullshit. It's kind of my personal bumper sticker.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for hearing that. And Andrew, what I would say about the steps, or what I want to make clear to the audience in case they didn't hear you. So I don't have a scaling steps like you do, but what I will tell you is that I teach my clients that you are a startup business until you hit 250K in revenue. Now, this is different than what you heard Andrew say, which is about 100 grand in sales. That's because we're talking about two different measurements. You're a startup in business because at 250K, not only have you created the space and place where you understand that your product market is right and tight, which is the 100 grand in sales that he's talking about. But top line 100 grand in sales does not a business make, depending on what you're looking to grow. How another way I would say that is 100 grand after expenses in your business isn't going to be the paycheck that you want it to be. Even if you're looking to own your own business.
Yeah.
If that's your form of income that pays your bills, 100 grand ain't going to cut it. No matter, I don't care where you live in this country anymore. It just isn't going to cut it. So, especially after the expenses of your business. Additionally, that additional 150 grand not only gets you to a space and place where you can take your own paycheck and know that your product market is right and tight, but it's where you can start to understand truly and fully, where you get to breathe and you get to say, oh, yeah, I know where my next deal's coming from. I've worked on the business enough and in the business enough to have created a little baby machine to give me great potential clients that I can work with. And I'm comfortable enough to be able to close those deals on a regular basis so that my cash flow is continually providing oxygen for my business to stay alive. That is why 250K is startup.
Yes. So, and you know, everything also depends on the type of business and your margins.
Absolutely.
So,
and those are like super deep. Like, I don't know. If you want to talk about margins, that's like you can do like a profit first, right? Michael Michailowicz, you can make sure that everybody understands their profit first, which I think is super, super important. And then margins to me as a salesperson reads wildly different than profit. And I don't know why. Technically, they're the same thing. But margins as a salesperson, like that's what I get paid on.
yeah.
Right? Like, let's be clear.
Yes. Yeah. So, you know, I mean, definitely, you know, it's important to look at it like that. And really, the 100 grand is the first goal that I give people is
Absolutely.
you need to break 100 grand because most businesses never do.
So
And
I run a mastermind called Top Six. There's and of course in today's economy, like if we took a look at the numbers for the past 2 years, the numbers are vastly different than they have been. Those reports for small business numbers haven't really come out for the last, you know, for 2024, I would say. But to Andrew's point, only 6% of small businesses, like entrepreneurs, people who chose to go into business for themselves, actually hit 100K. So think about that. For those of you who are listening to this thinking, I love learning from Andrew. I can't wait to start my business. Are you sure? Like, it's not for, you can dabble in it, but it will make you go broke before it gets you rich.
And yeah, I mean, it definitely, the odds are against you, but if you do the right things, you're so much more likely to succeed. Just having a business plan.
Prior proper planning prevents piss poor performance. If
There
there's
you
anybody
go.
in the military who's ever heard, like you've already know this. My bonus dad was hoorah, right? Retired Marine. He was in for 18 and a half years. He came out honorable discharge. He was a wounded warrior, Purple Heart, all these good things. And this is something that we heard in my house often.
Yep. Wow.
So P to the 7th, you know, it's like just I did not plan to fail. I only failed to plan. Would
Yeah.
be what you're talking about.
And yeah, so I was in the Navy.
There you go.
And
Go Navy, beat Army.
yep, yep. So I shorten it. So I just say failing to plan is plan to fail.
Yep.
And but that's why a lot of people don't make it. Even if you do a business plan, most business plans aren't complete, and a lot of them don't even have any numbers in them. So you also have to put the work in for that.
Absolutely. And I give it to entrepreneurs. I don't think so. Again, I own 2 separate professional services and IT staffing companies with partners prior to starting Sales UpRising. And if I had tried to start Sales UpRising first, I wouldn't have known as much as I know about entrepreneurship and business ownership as a whole. Because even though within the functions of business, a salesperson is the closest to being a CEO. And for those of you who are CEOs that aren't salespeople, let me break it down for you. We have to run our own P&L. If I'm a commission-based salesperson, I keep track of my own expenses. I have to understand how much time it takes me to make a deal. So I have to pay attention to all of the same exact details that a CEO has to outside of staff, technically, like outside of hiring, because ultimately, as a salesperson, I still need to understand the inner workings of my own company to be able to deliver customer service, right? To know my clients best enough to be able to set them up for success within the function of the business after I make the deal, all of that good stuff. If I want that customer to stay, sales is truly the one business function that is the most like a CEO. The differences would be entrepreneurship, owning your own business requires more of you than anything else in your life. And including your children.
Mm-hmm.
Some moms get really mad when I say that, but hear me out. When you're driving, you're late because somebody lost a shoe or forgot to put shoes on. You had to run back into the house because you forgot a report, like whatever it is. We're running late. We're on our way to a doctor's appointment. Johnny keeps kicking the back of your seat. And because, he's having a fit, he's not having the best morning. And you turn around and you just scream at your kid and you're like, stop it, Johnny. Guess what? Completely okay. You get to hug Johnny when you get out of the car and say, I'm so sorry, mommy had a bad moment. That's what a temper looks like. We try to never do that. And you get to have that conversation. Clients do not like that. Clients can kick the back of your seat all they want, make you so mad, and you don't get to say, stop it, Johnny.
Yep.
So entrepreneurship requires continual like the things that I would think of in my entrepreneurial journey, continual learning. Have you guys ever wondered when you watch all these shows that why there's always books in the background? It's because it takes a lot of books. We read a lot. We are constantly filling our minds with, and I'm not even talking about like the newest, latest, and greatest. Ask me how many books I've read on AI. I don't think I've read a book on AI yet. I'll get to it. By the time I do, it will have changed from what it is today. But we are constantly filling ourselves to better ourselves for our clients, for our team, because it's not just us. I'm not just, I hate that word, but I'm not just the function of sales for my company. I'm all of the functions of my business.
Yes. And one of the things that's difficult is most people are only good at a couple things.
Absolutely.
So to be a successful entrepreneur, you have to become good at a lot of things. And, that's why a lot of people don't succeed. Or you need to find support in the areas that, you don't have the knowledge or the mentality to do successfully. So it is one of the hardest things you could do, and you do have to continually learn. Like during that path, you have to remake yourself every step. You have to become a whole different person, and learn a tremendous amount because you have a different role at each step in being able to lead it successfully through that step.
So
And
we call that up leveling, right? So I would never say you have to remake yourself, because ultimately the kernel of you, like the nucleus of you, is what got you to a place where you decided to take the chance to build a business, which is
yeah,
amazing. So you want to keep the kernel of you. You just continue to up level and expand on that kernel.
yes, you definitely want to keep pieces, but your role changes, and each stage there, like I mentioned, there's a key skill. So initially it's problem solving, figuring out, developing a plan to solve the problem for your customers. The second skill is communication. You can't sell if you can't communicate. So communication becomes, the third skill is analysis. The fourth skill is coaching. And then the fifth skill is, really you got to become a symbol internally and externally. So each of those is something different. A good example is, to go from working on your business to working on the future of your business, or is you go from being the manager to being an executive. So as a manager, you make decisions and you tell people what to do. If you've been doing that for 10 years, you hire a manager, you're going to micromanage them unless you're real careful. And, one of my clients, it made me laugh because, like as a coach, you got to ask questions. You're not supposed to give solutions because you need to make your managers make decisions. And so I was like, you got to ask questions and stop telling them what to do, because then you own the responsibility. So he put a question mark on his forearm to remind him all the time to ask
questions. You can tell him. So I guess I should have known this a really long time ago. It's amazing that you did that. So do you have any tattoos?
Nope.
Okay. So I have 4 tattoos. When I got my very first tattoo, it was for when I was 18 years old, and I decided that I would probably love them. I would probably love tattoos. And so I had to put rules around when I could get them. And it all coincided with big birthdays, right? So 18, 21, 30. You get where I'm going with this. The very first tattoo that I ever got was a question mark.
Okay.
That is, it's amazing the things that guesting can teach you. And it really did have to do with that very thing. It had to do with, well, for me, it symbolized my innate curiosity about every damn thing.
Mm-hmm.
I must have been the most annoying child, because I wanted to know why, who, when, what's going on. And I think that if you can bring authentic curiosity or innate curiosity, the part of you that wants to know the answers to any piece of your job, it will only better you. This also has to, like, you have to ask questions as a manager. You know where else you have to ask questions? You have to ask questions when you're in sales. I know people think that it's about talking, but it's really not. It's about listening and asking more and more questions and qualifying deeper and requalifying. So you're up leveling every skill, right? Tell him he should get a tattoo. I got a guy for him. Have him call me.
Okay. So we got another question from James.
All right.
He wants to know, how do you attract high value clients more consistently?
I love that as a question with zero context whatsoever. I have some questions for you, James. What do you consider a high value client? Are you talking about a client that's just going to pay you a lot of money? Is that what you consider to be high value? Or are you looking for a client who's going to be with you for 5 years? What is a high value client? in terms of getting any kind of client more consistently, whether it's high value or not, or just a client of value or just a client, if we're going to talk about getting clients consistently, then we have to talk about your consistency. So if you had to grade yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, are you wildly consistent with the offers that you put out, the target that you're speaking to? Do you speak their language? Have you obtained these clients previously? And if you did, if the answer is yes, Katie, I have obtained high value clients, but I'm not now, I'm going to ask you what you're doing differently. Did the offer change? Did the target market change, but you didn't change your tactic or how you chose to go find them? Like, how consistent are you being? Where are you in the life cycle of your business will have a lot to do with how to answer that question.
So yeah, no, I mean, definitely, context on that is helpful. But also, I think you're right on. You got to look in the mirror at
What is
yourself.
it? Every time you point your finger at somebody, there's the thumb pointing back at you. Extreme accountability is what is to some extent required throughout the entirety of the life cycle of up-leveling you and your business, because there's no one else to blame. And we would never think about it. We would never want to put our customers in the place of where we're blaming them for not being around, right? Or like, where are you all hiding? Like that whole conversation leads to nothing good, and to things you can't control. So if we're willing to take extreme accountability, which, let's be clear, not always comfortable, and I totally get that. But the more you practice it, the more comfortable it becomes. So if you can say, okay, how can I be better? And James, I so appreciate you. Thank you for asking this question. We get that as a salesperson, I get it a lot. And there's no pat answer. Do you, boo? That's what right? It's your money, honey. Like, go do more of what got you your first, second, fifth, and 12th clients. Do more of it. Be in more of those places. Be louder. Be more you.
Yeah,
be a more consistent version of you, and they will come.
definitely. And one rule of thumb that I give to people is you need to spend at least 2 hours marketing every day. So because or sales and marketing.
I was going to say, you better finish your sentence, Andrew, before I jump all over you and go, wait a minute. Why am I going to spend 2 hours as a business owner behind my computer marketing? Well, or do you mean in-person networking marketing, right? So which spoke of my umbrella of marketing are you talking about, sir? So that I can decide if I agree with you or not.
It depends on your business, but it's having the activity and doing it consistently and spending enough time doing it, because it's not like a 5-minute thing or 10-minute thing. And there's so many things that could fit into the category of sales and marketing that initially people are like, well, what am I going to do for 2 hours? But once you start figuring it out, you're like, I need 10 hours a day to do this.
Right. Then your calendar looks a little different, right?
Right.
What I will say is the reason why, so one of the things that Andrew said, that you said that I really kind of want to harp on, is it's the time. The reason why you put time into it is so that you can get what? You can get data back. What you are looking for, so depending on where you are in your business and the type of business you have, but almost in every stage, what you're looking for is data. You're looking for the conversation between you as a business owner and the data that your business is giving you, in terms of yeses, in terms of nos, in terms of where yeses, where nos. You want all the answers to all of the things so that you know where to focus your next chunks of time to get better answers, more efficient answers, up-leveled answers, because that will also help you grow. So many business owners, Andrew, let me ask you, sometimes I feel like they're like, I just don't know what to do. And the first thing I tell them is, well, great, go Go to the data. What is your business telling you? Is your business suffocating? I'm known for saying things like cash flow is oxygen for your business, because if a person has no oxygen, you can't breathe. Therefore, you're dead. If your business does not have cash flow, it can't breathe. Therefore, it's dead. So, what is it that fuels, like, where do you get the oxygen to feed your business? Right? Data will help you put in the address on the GPS so you can get more of it.
Yes. And
Combine all of the analogies.
and even if you don't have data, because sometimes you're starting out,
Sure.
you gotta do things so you can collect data and do the activities, because like you learn and you get better, but you can't have the analysis paralysis and be like, I got to figure this out before I do anything.
Oh, well, not only that, but what's even the fun in that? Like, if you really just want a winning formula, then go work for somebody.
Yep.
Like, they already have it all figured out. All those companies, they know exactly what you need to do. They have tons of middle management that will help you get there. They were like, if that is your jam, if that's what you want on day one, is to have a working thing, then invest in a franchise, as long as you're willing to sell for your whole life. Like, there are things you can do to be a business owner that can help get you closer to that on day one. If what you're really interested in is believing in it is freedom, if you're looking for time freedom, if you're looking for cash freedom, if you're looking for your own freedom to be able to say whatever the hell it is you want to say under your own market and say, this is 100% who I am, and I could do an amazing business as exactly this person with this product, with this service, with this solution, then that's what we're talking about. Perfection is the enemy of progress, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
Like, you want progress, not perfection, people. There's no, you want to know a secret?
What's that?
I know it's just you and me, Andrew, so I'm going to go ahead and tell you a secret. Clients don't like perfection. Does it feel good they don't. They really don't. You know what they love? Humans. They want to know that you're going to do your best and that you're statistically the best, because it's the statistics of the best. Even the statistics of the best aren't perfect. There is no perfect. Quit lying to your client. I'm not perfect. I'm not a perfect human being.
Right.
That's not a part of my sales shtick. But never going to be.
Definitely. So, an hour goes really fast because we're bumping up on the hour, but thankfully we're not on like the network, because they would just cut us off. But there's a one question I'd like to have you address from the audience before we get ready to close out, and that question is, where is it? Come on, I had it in front of me. Okay.
The suspense is killing me.
How do you stay accountable as the number one salesperson in your business? Big dreams, but ADHD doesn't let it happen. Let me just make a quick comment. I saw a TED Talk, and it was about most entrepreneurs have ADHD. So it's not it's not necessarily a bad thing if you're an entrepreneur, but I want to hear what you have to share on that.
I would ask you how do you think that you don't stay accountable? Are you saying that if you have a bad day as an entrepreneur and you choose to take an hour to go walk barefoot in a park? We'll just take that as an example. Yes, if you're paying attention and you're a certain age, that could be a reference to Pretty Woman. But are you not being accountable to your business? I don't think the answer is yes, I'm not being accountable to my business. Don't forget, being an entrepreneur requires 100%, every 100% that you have to give. If you are needing to take a mental break because it is just too much, or you're overwhelmed, or you're stuck on something, sometimes taking that time away from the computer, away from potential clients, away, as long as you don't have deadlines, to get your mind right, that's okay, because that's what your business requires to be its best. I would also say keeping track of you. I'm not talking about like a time tracker, but it's really interesting. Every year I host a strategic business planning retreat. It's only for 1 year. It's not for the life cycle of your business. It's for what is your next year. And part of the pre-work for that retreat is to take a notepad, right? Take a notepad, blank notepad, your favorite pen, carry them around with you and write down everything that you do in a day. There is nothing more illuminating than looking at our own list of everything that we do in a day. And then you have the ability to create efficiencies through time blocking or eradicating some bad habits that you have in a day, so that you can become even more accountable. Practice makes better. So practice being accountable to what you want in smaller increments, and then you can practice being accountable for the bigger gets in your business. It will be easier that way.
Okay.
I hope that helps.
Yeah, no, I think that was a great response. My wife thinks I have ADHD, but I don't necessarily believe her. But but I probably do. But another piece is you can have tools that keep you organized.
Neurodivergent people, right? Yes, neurodivergent people have the ability to be wildly high functioning. So find what works for you. That means it will work for your business. It's
Yes,
your business. It gets to look like whatever you want. And ultimately, depending on what it is that you solution for, the solutions that you provide your clients, it has the ability to even be a reason that they buy from you.
definitely. So, and plus you learn a lot.
Yes.
You because you're thinking about a whole bunch of different stuff. So, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but you gotta manage it. And
And it'll be the first thing you get to manage out of many as a business owner. Like
right.
that's just the beginning.
Yeah. But it starts with you. So, this has been great. But before I let you go, we always ask the guests to share 3 key takeaways from the conversation, because we talked about a whole bunch of stuff, and just for people to focus on. And another thing is, many times people can't even remember more than 3 things. So we want to make sure people take away the right things and use it to be more successful, or why listen in if you're not going to take things away and help you become a better business person. So we're going to take a sec. I'm going to give you a minute to sort of think through the 3 most important things. I'm going to play a short video about our most recent book that we launched a couple months ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So here we go. Hi, Andrew here, and I'm excited to announce the launch of our new book, 99 Proven Tips to Accelerate Your Masterpreneur Journey. 5 years, 33 incredible guests, hundreds of powerful business lessons, and now it's all in one place. Introducing 99 Proven Tips to Accelerate Your Masterpreneur Journey, a brand new book built from the insights, wisdom, and strategies shared by the guest experts of our podcast, Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. Inside, you'll discover actionable tips on how to launch smarter.
So if you have an idea that you have researched and you know who your customer is, and you think that you've got the experience you need, now is a perfect time to start a business. But remember, start as a side hustle first.
Grow faster.
So sales is about problem solving, not about manipulating. You have to understand the math of your business, the sales math.
Lead more effectively.
You shouldn't expect someone to be you. You have to understand and create processes to basically train people on how to handle certain situations and basically set people on the right path, right? So they can become successful within your organization.
And scale your business with confidence.
Bet on yourself and not be afraid to take risks and to know that you have within you the ability to accomplish your dreams and accomplish your goals.
Think like an entrepreneur. Now, I know there may be many entrepreneurs listening, but there may be some who aren't entrepreneurs. It's all well and good. I'm here to say entrepreneurship is not just something you do, it's a way that you think. And the characteristics of an entrepreneur's thinking are creativity, resourcefulness, courage, resilience, and passion.
This isn't theory, it's practical advice straight from entrepreneurs and thought leaders who have done it. 5 years of conversations, 33 voices of experience, and now 99 tips to accelerate your masterpreneur journey. Get your copy today. Pre-order now to reserve your signed copy. Click the button below or scan the QR code to order from www.sbprousyou.com/99-tips. All right, welcome back to Leadership Live. I'm here with Katie Nelson, talking small business. The topic tonight is Sales UpRising. We've had a great chat, and Katie's going to leave us with the 3 key things that she wants you to take away from our conversation tonight and start implementing within your business and what you're doing so that you can increase your revenues and, have sales UpRising.
Yes. Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate the time to think about this. And, what I find is that some shows are just, this show is all about the C's. You ready? So there's 3 takeaways. Clients, how to get them, how to keep them, how to get more of them. Cash flow, understanding that it's oxygen for your business, planning for it, putting your numbers down on paper so you can be accountable for it. And then coaching. One of the things that we talked about in this show is the continual learning process. And even our last question, which was, how do I hold myself more accountable? You can join an accountability program with an amazing coach that has the ability to support you in your effort while you are learning that skill set. So clients, cash flow, and coaching. Those were my 3 takeaways, I think.
Excellent. So I definitely, clients are super important, and you don't really have a business if you don't have any sales.
I think there's even a quote, right? So there is no business until a dollar exchanges hands.
There you go. So you're not in business until you've made a sale. Once you're making sales, then you can look at your numbers because you'll have some, and then you got to manage your cash flow, and then coaching allows you to continue to grow and move forward. So, definitely those are some great things, breaking it down into like a real easy to understand. I mean, I think a lot of people make business complex when it really isn't. It's just, you sell something to someone who needs it at a higher price than it costs you to deliver it. And if you do that, you're going to be successful all day long.
You got a winning formula there.
So anything else you'd like to share before we close out?
Well, I think we're going to have, if anybody chooses to follow us on all of our, places, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, all of that. I know you're giving the people that. Be looking for Black Friday deals. There may be some fun things that you end up being interested in terms of clients, cash flow or coaching. But ultimately, I actually want to give a shout out. I think that because I saw the play of the week, right? I got to see the whole breakdown, and you actually have a friend of mine coming on later this week, and her name is Precious. So yes, so you all stay tuned. Don't leave this channel. Watch this space. Whatever you need to do. It's going to be a great week. It's going to be a great week. Ending in, I believe, some fantastic events. So
yes, definitely. And I've worked with Precious for several years.
I love her.
She's great, and she's in the book.
I believe that to be true.
Yeah.
And if she's going to talk to y'all about pitching.
So
that is her superpower. She's killer.
Definitely so. Well, thank you so much. We've got your info in the chat, so feel free to reach out to Katie. And I'm going to close out the show. Hang on for a minute, and we'll go from there. So, once again, appreciate everybody's comments and questions. Thanks for tuning in, and hopefully you're taking away some nuggets that will help you to be more successful, whether it's to grow revenues, whether it's to maximize profits or get financing, or all three of them. And the more you sell, the easier it is to do all that. So once again, great guest with Katie Nelson. Next week, each week we have a great guest. So next week is Nikki Barra, and we're going to talk about passion won't pay your bills in the age of AI. A lot of people go into business, based on passion and not, fundamental business principles. So, it's okay to have passion for your business and do what you're passionate about, but, it can't just be all about passion. I'm looking forward to a real exciting conversation. So hopefully you can join us then. And, at the end of the day, the more that you know, the faster and more successfully your business is going to grow. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you for listening to Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbpro.u.com.